Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Play The Lost Files of Sherlock Holmes, The Case of the Serrated Blade, which was a game that was designed in 1992 by EA, and so this is the beginning of the game, London, England, November 1888. Kind of shows you a bit of an introduction. Now I have lowered the audio for the sound, because the sound was a lot louder than initially, so if anything's a little too quiet or whatever, do feel free to let me know in the comments and I'll try to make adjustments, but I did try to do some sound tests prior to all of this. In the alley behind the Regency Theatre. See a man smoking, it seems. Gasp! There's been a murder! Early the following morning on Baker Street. And it's basically where our story begins. And of course, this is during the time of Jack the Ripper, so a lot of people think, yes, begging your pardon, madam. This here's a note for Mr. Holmes from Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard. Oh, very well. I'll see that he gets it. Thank you, Constable. Now, this game was released both on CD and 3DO. Have you been sufficiently fortified by Miss Hudson's murderous coffee, Watson, to put your mind at ease? Whatever are you on about, Holmes, so early in the morning? I'm sorry to interrupt your reading, old man. Miss Hudson just delivered a very intriguing note. Would you care to pause it? Or care to peruse it? Pursue it? Peruse it? Mr. Holmes, a young woman has been brutally murdered outside the Regency Theatre in Oxford Street. The evidence here suggests that Jack the Ripper has emerged from under his rock in Whitechapel and stalked savagely in Mayfair. Despite your contention that the Ripper's work is without motive and therefore not suited for your methods, I believe you would find this case of interest, and Yard would be most grateful to hear your opinions. G. Lestrade. And so basically, we end up taking the case. But anyways, I was about to say, this game was originally released on CD and 3DO. Now, on the 3DO version, there's actually audio, but apparently on the CD version, there's not any audio in terms of talking. So I will try and do my best to do voices, and I'll try and give each character a unique voice, make it a little bit of entertaining. So again, I apologize. I'm also going to try and show you how to get the most points. There is a bit of a walkthrough that you can follow if you really want to. But really, most of the options are to just to look around and obviously look at everything, talk to everybody that you can, and you know, your typical game. So we begin at 22-1 Baker Street, and we can look around the room. So we got the book. JPVD Ralston's classic Griffin Rampant, an exhaustive survey of subtle influence which Anglo-Saxon coats of arms exerted on moribund Norman heraldic traditions in the reign of William Rufus. Over 70 bullet holes compose a script rendition of the sovereign's initials, VR for Victoria Regina. This redecoration of the south wall was recently performed with the pistol of a singular demonstration of patriotism for the beloved Queen's Golden Jubilee on the 21st of June, 1887. We got Watson's desk. A commonplace oak desk with drawers of stethoscope and some letters are scattered around the top. Anything else we can look at? Breakfast bookcase. Made of carved mahogany, this bookcase holds reference works, maps, gazetteer, and encyclopedia, a toxicology, soil analysis, chemistry texts, and a collection of specialist monographs and selected historical classics. Neat. Okay. We have our chair we can look at. A typical sitting room chair. The sheen of its wine-red velveteen covering shows that it is well used. A dark purple silk dressing gown with a rolled collar is carelessly crumpled on the seat, and the am I saying that right? Antimacassar requires changing. Coal scuttle, we can take a look at that. There's a lot of things that you can look at in this as well. And unfortunately, the characters do tend to walk a little slower. A wooden box tastefully decorated with contrasting centric circles and geometric shapes. Let's take a look at the bookcase. Watson's medical shelf, which also contains his case, books, notebooks, and scrapbooks, and a few pulp mysteries and collection of Clark Russell's sea stories. Look at the picture. A framed reproduction of Clifford's portrait of General Charles George Chinese Gordon, 1833 to 1885. The hero of the Chinese War of 1860, he was killed by the Mahdi's forces in the Battle of Khartoum. There's a stash. Collection of odd bits and bottles, all of which bespeak the vices Watson so tirelessly condemns, plus today's cigar ends and cigarette butts. Fair enough. Take a look at the fireplace. 221B is unfamiliar with the toys. 221B is unfamiliar with the toys and curses of central heating. For almost 10 months a year, a coal fire burns between 8 and 16 hours a day. During the winter months, no indoor life goes on far from it. There's a chart. The Periodic Table of Elements, edition 1886, is affixed on the wall with brass carpet tacks. Immediately below it are hung measuring paraphernalia and a small ball peen hammer. Also quite like a clock. A wall-tended regulator clock which keeps perfect time. The chimes have been violently disengaged, so the clock will not sound the quarter hour. Huh. Hurling sticks. A set of 3 hurling sticks used in a mysterious Afghan game in which large groups of men ride donkeys over a great distance for the purpose of capturing the stuffed head of an albino goat. Wait, what? Yes, we looked at the chair, we've looked at the briefcase, bookcase, fireplace, picture. What else? Oh, there's a jackknife. A common 6-blade utility knife of the type used by Swiss infantrymen. Versatile in emergencies and dire straits. The primary blade of this one fixes unanswered correspondence and a few unwelcome bills to the wooden mantle like butterflies to a specimen box. There was something else here, wasn't there? Persian slipper? There we go. A single soft leather slipper, suitable for either foot, hangs attached to a leather thong. It has no heel and the pointed toe curls slightly upward. A quantity of rough-cut shag tobacco is stuffed far into the toe of this unlikely humidor. You can look at the sideboard. A rosewood sideboard, the top of which is strewn with cigar boxes, assorted bottles of alcoholic spirits, the odd plate or two, a common gossagean, and sundry ornamental Victoriana. Anything else we can look at? Sideboard is Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson appears to await instruction. Indeed. There's sheet music. An original composition, through one scarcely worthy of note, was only put to paper at Watson's insistence. A fine aquamarine damask covers the elegant sofa. The material and cushions exhibit little sign or wear. It serves more often as a violin respiratory than as a conventional piece of furniture. Gotcha. Watson's desk. Oh, another desk. A handsome roll-top desk littered with insignificant pieces of paper and dust. A key set in a single drawer is turned in an open position. Oh, can we open it? Can we open the desk? Well, how about that? We open the desk. The desk contains a small daily diary and a checkbook. Can we pick that up? Nothing of interest. Alright. We'll close it for now then. Now, there's not going to be a lot of sound effects, so there will be music from time to time. But like I said, most of it, the audio is only in the 3DO version. Not so much in the PC version. There might be a few sections where there is some audio, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. Alright, well, let's talk to Dr. Watson. Actually, do we have anything in inventory? Message requesting help. So, Mr. Holmes, a young woman has been brutally murdered outside the Regency Theatre in Oxford Street. The evidence here suggests that Jack the Ripper has emerged from under his rock in Whitechapel and stuck savagely in Mayfair. Despite your contention that the Ripper's work is without motive and therefore blah blah blah. So basically what I read earlier in the beginning of the game. And we have a number of business cards. Several business cards. They read, Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective, 221 Baker Street, London. Excellent. Mr. Holmes, what do you think? Or Mr. Watson, what do you think? We can say, have you decided what to wear, or have you already begun your journal entries? Have you decided to wear your bowler hat for this investigation, Watson? Oh, I guess he says we pick. Sorry, I thought we were just selecting, and again, I'll try and do voices for each character. As always, Holmes, I feel positively undressed without it. I'll try to do voices to distinguish the two different characters. He's always wearing his bowler hat. Fair enough. What else can we ask him? Have you already begun your journal entries, Doctor? Of course, Holmes. Any case in which you take an interest will certainly interest the world. I don't know if I like that voice for Dr. Holmes. Or for Watson, sorry. Alright, well, we should probably go and investigate the body at Baker Street. Though he was loath to show it, I do believe Holmes was truly gratified by Inspector Lestrade's note and the request for his assistance which it contained. I'm sure I can't recall seeing him more excited at the outset of an investigation. He knows that Scotland Yard only calls him on its most challenging cases. Holmes asked me, have you decided to wear your bowler hat for this investigation, Watson? I replied, as always, Holmes, I feel positively undressed without it. Holmes asked me, have you already begun your journal entries, Doctor? I replied, of course, Holmes. Any case in which you take interest will certainly interest the world. Well, good to know that he's writing things down. Alright, well, let's go outside and inspect the body. Come along, Watson. The game's afoot. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Quite so, Holmes. Alright, well, we are outside. Let's take a look and see what we've got here. We got Wiggins. Must be like the town crier. Town crier boy. The leader of the Baker Street Irregulars is a mere boy, but he's cunning and perspicuous. And he and his crew of street urchins are justly renowned for speedily and discreetly looting anything in London. What else we got here? Jonas, the newsstand operator. For 30 years, Jonas Rigby has operated this newsstand. Though legally blind since being wounded in the Crimea, he recognizes all of his regular customers by the sound of their voices or the size of their tips. His proximity to the lodgings or a certain consulting detective has probably contributed to his never having been shortchanged. Talk to them. Are the rest of your lads available, Wiggins? You're at the ready, sir. Tell me what you need and I'll pass it on. There's 8 who's willing to work, so it'll cost 8 bob a day plus the usual reward. I will be requiring your assistance, Wiggins. At your service, Mr. Holmes. You got a job for the irregulars? Well, no, Wiggins, not just at the moment. Very good, sir. Let me know when there's anything we can do for you. We can all use the brass. I would do a higher, more pitched voice, but I can't. So, I apologize. Let's talk to Jonas. My compliments, Mr. Rigby. The day finds you well, I trust. Indeed, Mr. Holmes. Business has been brisk. The great British public devours anything to do with the Ripper. While Jack's at work, my family's eating steak and kidney pud. Fair enough. Can we pick up a paper? Nothing of interest here? No? The Better London papers, several illustrated weeklies, a handful of the most scurrilous scandal sheets and magazines, and a small section of chocolate confections are available at the stall. Unique among city newsstands, the proprietor keeps unsold daily newspapers for a week or so before sending them back to the Fleet Street. Right, so we can look, but we can't pick up anything. Right? Talk to Holmes. Or, I mean, Dr. Watson. Doctor? A challenging case, is it not, Watson? Quite enough to tangle my senses, Holmes. I already know which way to turn. Still trying to find a good voice for Watson. These hideous Ripper crimes have exhausted the resources and imagination of Scotland Yard. Watson, can we do better with our case? With you in the lead, Holmes, I'm sure we will. Maybe I'll give him like more of like a Sean Connery, like a whatever you say, Holmes. James Connery, Sean Connery, Bond, James Bond. All right. So anyway, the first thing we want to do is we need to go to the alley, which is over this way. So we're gonna move. Yunk. Can I move? How do I move? There we go. Alright, so we're going to go to the alley. And so we have basically an interactive map that we can select. And we'll be able to pick items throughout the game. So we'll first go to the alley and head on over there. Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, very good of you to come so quickly. After you've thoroughly examined the scene and the corpus dicti, please share your observations with me. Alright, we are at the scene of the crime. The game is afoot. And we will learn more about the body and everything included in the next video.